2021 was supposed to represent an exciting new start in Jets football. Again. Like they don't have these every couple of years. Oh, poor Jets fans. Gangrene indeed. But it was supposed to represent a fresh turn, a new page being turned over, a fresh start, whatever the fuck. I'm tired. I'm stumbling over my words. The hiring of Robert Saleh, the moving on from Sam Darnold, drafting Zach Wilson, number 2 overall. Like, if you're a Jets fan, you probably weren't thinking playoffs, you weren't thinking Super Bowl, none of that crazy shit. But you were thinking, hey, maybe you got the right guy at head coach. You got the intriguing young quarterback with the big-time arm talent. You're at least going to see reason for hope and positive thoughts for the future in 2021. And then the season happened, and it probably didn't go as well as Jets fans maybe expected. He's not a bust at this time, but Zach Wilson certainly is a long way from proving he's the guy. I mean, he had moments where he looked absolutely god-awful atrocious in 2021. You want him to do that in a year that you're not going to really play for anything worthwhile anyways? Get that shit out of your system, make those mistakes, grow and learn from them. But every flash that you saw of Zach Wilson that said, man, he could be that dude, you saw 2 or 3 flashes that you said, oh my God, how is he any different than Sam Darnold? Fair question, up to and including having an injury and missing several games due to it. I mean, you'd have a flash here and there, but I don't know that there were enough flashes that you felt great about what you saw out of Zach Wilson. But beyond all of that, Mekhi Becton only played 1 game. So that certainly doesn't help a young quarterback like Zach Wilson. Certainly doesn't help the Jets' offense at all. And that's another guy you've taken in the first round, and you got 1 game out of him. You spend money in free agency on a wide receiver like Corey Davis, and he missed basically half the season. So the offense that you were looking to show you what the future could look like didn't show you a whole lot if you're a Jets fan. And then that Saleh defense got roasted a lot in 2021. They were butt naked last in the league in total yards allowed, butt naked, hind tit rear in the last in terms of points allowed. Weren't generating a lot of pass rush. They were only 28th in the league in sacks. Not a lot of positives there. I'm sorry, there just really wasn't. You would have expected, this new defensive-minded head coach that had done wonderful things in San Francisco to come in and at least do something decent with this Jets defense. You weren't expecting to be great or elite right away, but you were expecting to see, they at least hired a defensive-minded head coach, and you didn't even see that watching this defense. They were terrible. Now, they did have a couple of quality wins against the Titans and the Bengals, which seemed to freaking come out of nowhere. But you had other ugly losses. Their other wins came against the Texans and the Jaguars. So, 4-13 record is probably not what you wanted or not what you were seeking if you're a Jets fan, or certainly the Jets organization. But it doesn't have to all be gloom and doom here. I'm not sure how much reason there is for optimism, but there could be some. If you look at that 2021 draft class, the only first-round quarterback that somewhat looked the part was Mac Jones, and even then, when it was really on his shoulders, he didn't look very good. Justin Fields sure had a flash here and there, but he also had flashes where he sucked. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. The 49ers wasted their entire season playing Jimmy Garoppolo instead of giving Trey Lance a time to develop, so who knows what the hell he would have been. Now, there's no reason to be upset about trading Sam Darnold away because he sucks. He proved that in Carolina. So at least you could say, whether Zach Wilson's the guy or not, for sure Sam Darnold freaking isn't, and it's a good thing they moved on from him at least. Acknowledge your mistake and move on. Some of the draft picks for this year, you talk about Elijah Vera Tucker, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, they all showed promise. So you're looking at a situation where you draft a young quarterback and you want to build around that young quarterback with young offensive pieces that can grow with him. You have Elijah Vera Tucker, you have Elijah Moore, you have Michael Carter. there's a solid foundation that you're starting there, especially if you can get a Mekhi Becton to be healthy and play most or all of the season in 2022. That's not all, though. These Jets are picking at 4 and 10 in the first round. They've got second-round picks at 35 and 38. So you're talking about 4 picks in the draft this year in the top 38, 2 of them in the top 10, 5 total picks in the first 3 rounds. So there's an opportunity to really improve this team this year, leveraging some of that surplus draft capital, or potentially strengthening the Jets' position in, let's say, 2023 or even 2024 by maneuvering and leveraging some of that draft pick capital now to expand the amount that you have in the future. There's a lot of ways the Jets could go here. So that could be a reason for some hope. They have over $50 million in cap space, yes. Now, granted, cap space, can be as fake as anything sometimes. If you want to make a deal happen, you'll find a way to get it done, certainly. But they have a higher starting point. They could be a little more liberal with their spending, if you will. It's also a reflection of the fact that the roster sucks, so they don't have a bunch of people that are worth giving big money to. They do have some free agent decisions coming up on guys like Marcus May, Braxton Berrios, Morgan Moses, Jamison Crowder, Duvernay Tardif. There are some names for them to kind of focus on and figure out whether they want them in the fold or not. But I think there is some reason for optimism with the Jets. I don't know if you could feel fully great about this. Maybe if the Jets defense had played better under the new head coach, you would say, okay, that side of the ball is going to be good. You don't know yet. If Zach Wilson, if you went 4 and 13, but Zach Wilson was really good as a rookie and the rest of the team sucked, you'd say, as a Jets fan, I feel fantastic about the future, as it looks like we've got that dude. It's just you have almost as many lingering questions as you did heading into 2021, now exiting 2021 and looking towards this offseason in the 2022 season. In terms of the big needs, they got holes all over the damn place. Both sides of the ball. I would anticipate this Jets team is going to focus on the defensive side of the ball in this draft. And look, with picks 4 and 10, that in theory could make some sense. Although I would caution the Jets on this, is that at the end of the day, you're going to succeed or not succeed based off of what Zach Wilson develops into or does not develop into. As a result, you have to give him as much help as possible. As much help as possible. Is that a big player at tight end? Would certainly be nice. Although recent history of drafting tight ends high isn't great in terms of immediate big contributions. Tight end feels like it's as much of a crapshoot of a position as anything. But they certainly need to address that position in this draft. Could always use more wide receiver depth. You always could. A little bit of work on that offensive line. But I think Saleh is going to go into this draft and Douglas is going to go in this draft. And they're probably going to look to beef up that defense a little bit. I'd expect them to want to get some guys in that front 7 that can actually get after the quarterback. They're going to look for some type of difference maker in the secondary as well. You'll probably see a lot of reports linking them to a Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, which could make some sense. It just feels kind of awkward that you drafted Jamal Adams back in 2017. A few years later, you trade him away, and now you're back in the business of taking in, another safety in the top 5 or top 10. And it feels like the definition of insanity, history is repeating itself. But if you say, hey, we're going to take him, he's going to give you a couple good years, and you pop him off for 2 future first-rounders, then maybe it's fucking worth it when you're playing the long game. But for this Jets team, I think if you're a Jets fan, you were hoping that you were going to have more reasons for optimism than you do right now. But it shouldn't be all doom and gloom either.